Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all that good stuff, and leave your thoughts in the comments below as always. And finally, Chelsea are back playing football this week. I would say it's been a boring international break, but Chelsea being Chelsea, as we all know, can't stay away from the headlines for too long. And we've spiced things up big time, being described as a Chelsea civil war, except it's not quite civil, is it, between Boehly and Boehly? Everyone kind of knows what the situation is. Everyone knows what's going on. I'm just going to, in today's video, bring you up to date with all the latest and share my views on the situation. Now, obviously, when this news kind of first broke last week, it was a bit of a shock to hear the extent that the relationship between the pair has deteriorated. But I don't think it's a surprise. I think this has been sort of rumblings of the relationship between Boehly and Boehly being, on the down for a while now. That's not exactly new news, but the extent of it is massive to the fact that they're trying to obviously buy each other out. And now we're faced with a situation where obviously Boehly and Clearlake, who are the majority shareholders, I think they've got 61.5% of the club, whereas Boehly, I think a guy called Mark Walter and then Hans-Jörg Weiss, the old Swiss geezer, I've got the other 30% between them. I think Boehly only has about 13%. Obviously, he's the face of the consortium and whatnot. And he clearly wants control of Chelsea. He clearly wants to buy Boehly out. Only issue on Boehly's side of proceedings, unfortunately for him, is he's a minority shareholder and he's going to have to get together a lot of capital, about £2.5 billion, to attempt to buy Clearlake and Boehly out. And obviously, they've made it very, very clear they're fully committed to the club and they've got no intention of selling their shares. And we're sort of kind of at loggerheads right now as to what's going on. All sorts of briefings coming out, sporting directors being dragged into it. A big piece in The Athletic on Monday about kind of how Boehly's approach differs to Boehly's and the kind of the pros and cons. And so ultimately, we don't really know what the situation is, other than the fact that these two don't get on. Also, they don't like each other, but they definitely don't get on. They don't see eye to eye in how things are being done at the football club. And whatever happens here is one of them's going to end up going, because this is beyond repair, this relationship. And even if they somehow manage to patch things up, it's never going to be the same, and a fallout is just waiting to happen. So there is going to be a parting of ways. One or the other will no longer be involved in the football club. And, the latest reports are stating that, it's expected that, Boehly will be bought out by Clearlake. That is the sort of most likely outcome, which, that's kind of a safe thing to say, and it hedge your bets against with the majority shareholder. That's kind of an obvious thing to say. But, The Athletic was interesting, from my point of view, there are some clear differences between sort of what Boehly wants to do compared to perhaps what Boehly and Clearlake prefer in terms of running the football club. What I ascertained from it was that Boehly kind of wants to have one main sporting director, and he wants like a CEO of football, and he wants those people to make the decisions. He wants them to make the decisions. He doesn't want to micromanage them. It very much seems like Boehly's kind of on that micromanagement side of things, wants to be involved in the day-to-day, wants to have people constantly reporting up to him, almost a bit of an insecurity on that behalf. Boehly also wants stability with coaches, is what I gathered from there. I think Boehly's a bit more trigger happy on these things. The stadium is a big reason for their falling out. His plans for the new stadium have been really, really slow. Boehly thinks it should be faster, and I don't think he's wrong on that one. Boehly also feels that owners shouldn't be, should not be hands-on on day-to-day. And I absolutely agree with that. Owners, you want them to be silent in the background. You don't want them dominating the headlines all the time. And these owners have been in the headlines pretty much non-stop since they took over. And also Boehly does agree with the data-led model, multi-club model, youth approach and all that sort of stuff. But as from his role as interim sporting director, we know that he'd be prepared to make exceptions for older players. We had links with Neymar, we had links with Mbappe, we had links with Cristiano Ronaldo at the time as well. Whereas under Boehly, it very much seems that there's no willingness to go for any kind of more older or proven players, as it were. From the Boehly side of things, from what I picked up from the Athletic article, He quite likes to have two sporting directors, which is why we've got two right now. He wants them to obviously feed up to him. Boehly really wants to be involved in, all of the footballing decisions. He's obviously wants to be more ruthless with managers, and he's a big believer in that data and youth-led approach. Now, from those points that I picked up from the article, like, it's a no-brainer to think that, we should Todd Boehly would be the best bet for Chelsea. In my view, he's got the fans' interests more at heart. I think he cares more about the fans. He's got more time for the fans. He's obviously spoken at business conferences and stuff, speaking about patience and whatnot, the importance of fans and these type of things. The only time we've ever heard from Boehly or Feliciano, the sort of the main Clearlake guys, we've never heard from Boehly, and Feliciano, the one thing he spoke about was making money. So I think it's quite clear what their intentions are. Yes, of course, they want the football club to be successful, but for them, it's all about making money. Whereas I think, personally, from my point of view, for Boehly, it's about making the team as big a success as possible. And he genuinely wants to do that and genuinely cares about the fans. Yes, he also helps that he's got a sporting background. He's a part owner of the LA Dodgers. Now, obviously, he's not the majority guy there, but he's got experience of what it's like, in a sports team environment. Yes, I'm fully aware that baseball and football are very different, but he does have that experience there. But I think ultimately, whether you're Boehly, whether you're Boehly and Clearlake, the most important thing is that Chelsea get this sorted out as quickly as possible. They get to the situation where the ownership are all pulling in the same direction. Regardless of the idea, everyone needs to be on the same page. And if there's someone that's not on the same page and they're not prepared to get themselves on the same page, then an agreement needs to be reached for them to be no longer part of the project. Everyone's got to be pulling in the same direction, whether you agree with the direction that is chosen or not. Everyone's got to be on board. We need stability on the pitch, we need it off the pitch, and we've got it in neither places right now. Now, this is not going to be a quick resolution to this. Sources close to Boehly suggesting that the picture will become clearer within the next couple of months. That's still a long time to wait. Obviously, with this amount of money involved, it's not a quick process. Reports have suggested that Boehly feels that he is confident he could get the £2.5 billion together pretty quickly to buy out Boehly and Clearlake. Obviously, other investors would be prepared to help him with that. And at some point, something has to give, because someone's got to back down, as we can't continue how we currently are in this situation. The worry is now that this is going to dominate the headlines. It's going to distract from the task at hand on the pitch. Now, I don't think the outside noise will affect the team's performance on the pitch. I think as players, you very much, separate yourself from the noise outside the club that's not to do with the football. But what's not going to help is that in every press conference now, every time Enzo Maresca speaks to the media or whatever, he's going to be constantly asked questions about this, of which he's got no say in it and he's got no control over it whatsoever. And he's just going to be constantly asked questions about it, which really isn't going to be helpful. So he's going to have to obviously prepare for that and expect that to happen. And it's just an unnecessary distraction that we don't need at this point in time. We simply do not need it. But this is Chelsea. It's a mess. It's kind of what we do. And, the cheek of these guys to say that the club wasn't particularly well run when they took over, but it's arguably even worse run right now. Yeah, there's some good things they've done, but there's also some things that are shocking. And there's things that, these guys aren't even pulling in the same direction. Disagreements over a lot of stuff. Yes, obviously everyone has to sign off on decisions for them to go through. But I think as long as there's a majority amongst the shareholders, excuse me, then it gets put through. I think a lot of people are saying that Boehly would have been pro keeping Pochettino for at least one more season for stability. I don't necessarily think that trail of thinking is the wrong way to go. There's no guarantees that making that change means we're going to be better in the long run or better this season. That's absolutely clear in my mind. And then there's been reports of an 18-page report that was put together by Winstanley and Stewart as to why Pochettino should go, and they presented it to Boehly in a meeting. Obviously, Boehly, I think, did want to veto the situation and keep Pochettino, but ultimately he chose not to veto it because I don't think there would have been enough votes, and he hasn't got enough shares to have that for his vote to sort of have a big say for the whole thing to be called off. But what I find quite funny is that Winstanley and Stewart spent 3 or 4 months appointing Pochettino. Then 9 months later, they've produced an 18-page document saying why he shouldn't be manager when you guys appointed him in the first place after a thorough and extensive process. So you guys look pretty stupid as well. So everyone is looking like idiots right now, every single person. And we're never going to really know the true extent of it. Yes, fans got this sort of Boehly egg barley thing. For me personally, I prefer Todd Boehly for the reasons that I stated earlier in the video. But I just want this sorted as quickly as possible. Just get it dealt with. And for once, can we just focus on matters on the football pitch? But yeah, guys, that's kind of my thoughts on the situation. Bit of a ramble there. Let me know your thoughts. I hope it's Boehly, but ultimately for the club, let's just get this dealt with as quickly as possible. Smash the like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let me know your thoughts. Up the Chelsea, and peace out, guys.